Hello there. Something a little bit different today. I'm here with a friend of mine, Rose Noir. I'm just gonna call you Marie. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. I know it must be a bit weird for you to call me Rose.
It is. I mean, I'm not gonna say it doesn't suit you. I just know you as Marie.
It's fine. I have the same problem. Even at like shows and stuff, when someone's like calling me Rose, I have just the blankest expression, just like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not my name. Oh yeah, and then the light bulb clicks, and I remember who I am.
All right. Yeah. Cool. So, before we get started, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay, so I'm a belly dancer and burlesque dancer, and I also try to do like a bit of alternative music in my routines, and I also do modelling. So I mainly did that stuff like in live, and now I've just started up a YouTube channel where I'll be posting videos of performances I've done live, but I'll also be doing vlogs talking about my experiences modelling, giving advice and tips for modelling, and then I'll also be doing some vlogs and tutorials and workshops, all to do with dance. So there'll be kind of like anything that's all to do with dance and modelling on there. So if you look up Rose Noir on YouTube, you'll just see some of the stuff I've been putting out now, but lots of projects on their way.
Oh, cool. Cool. Now, obviously, I didn't just have you on here to plug your channel, although that was part of it. I want to help you out there.
Thank you.
But I'll leave a link to your channel in the description.
Thank you.
Go and subscribe. Do it. I'm not. I'm not kidding. Okay. So yeah, we actually go back a bit, don't we?
Is it
Must,
like 5, 6 years now?
it's about that. We went to uni together, which is where we met, and I think we were the only two on our courses that were still there at the time that we finished masters.
Yeah, so it was just did performing arts together for our bachelor's degree at De Montfort, and then we stayed on together to do our master's degree. But I think it was just us two, like from our class.
Yeah.
So our master's degree had like a mixture of drama students, performing arts. What was the other one? Just art students or
Um,
something?
I
Dancers,
think there was
dancers.
dance. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't the only people we knew in masters, just the only people in our specific course.
Yeah, because the performing arts
There
class
was
and
a
the
lot of
drama was a
overlap.
little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, very similar, just a little bit different.
The um the uh the curriculum was different. They were aiming at different things, I guess.
So, because I think we had a bit more like technology in
Yeah.
our modules,
Yeah.
which was very cool to do.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that because I'm pretty good at editing now, if I do say so myself. Well, I'm okay at it. I'm decent if I can muster the attention span for long enough.
I mean, it can come useful, and I've had job interviews for what I like to call it muggle jobs. So anything that's bringing in income that isn't creative, I'll call it my muggle job. So at the moment, my
Muggle.
job is in an office, and obviously dance stuff is my not witch job, but normal job. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's your artist job.
Yes, artist job. But yeah, so when I had have interviews for a muggle job, and they're asking, how are you with computers? And in my head, I'm thinking, say you're good with computers, because obviously all the stuff we did in our course, they're not really going to need in an office. So I'm like, yeah, I can connect some sensors so that movement can trigger this light and this sound and do all this stuff with Cubase and stuff like that. But obviously, they just want you to know how to like book appointments or
Use Excel.
use Excel, do some like
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, you can use that and say you're good with
I have
computers.
heard that as long as you can use Excel, you're good, pretty much.
And I'll be honest, what has been very useful is just where I'm starting to. If you live in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire area, I teach dance classes. They should be starting around September, October.
Yeah.
Um, but what has been good for that, so anything that I've needed to do to kind of learn how to like do booking lessons online. So obviously you want to book it before you actually come to the classroom. I feel like our course is very good for preparing me for little techie bits like that.
Yeah.
Just even if it's just a case of knowing that YouTube can literally teach you anything.
Yeah, it's very easy to find. Like, if you don't know how to do something, someone on YouTube does and is happy to tell you.
It's like in that way, I feel like our course is very good at teaching you how to teach yourself in
Yeah,
regards to, well, anything in life really. You can obviously teach yourself on YouTube, but I think it was good
yeah,
to kind of teach you that you are capable of finding this information for yourself and teaching yourself. I
yeah,
think our course, I'll give it that, makes you an independent person and you can take that with you in so many different ways.
yeah. That is true. You know what? I miss dance classes, and that might surprise you, because I don't bring this up on my channel a lot, but I actually use a wheelchair and hobble about on my knees a lot. And that's my default mode of being when I'm performing as well. Normally, I'm not normally in the chair, although I will be if it if it benefits the context at the time. There's probably a million better ways of wording that. but
But, I do have so much respect for you for that. Because obviously, a dance class for some people who aren't naturally dancers can be difficult anyway. But obviously, when you obviously have more of a physical struggle and you're doing everything on your hands and knees, it's going to be even more difficult. And you'll never want to kind of complain and go, oh, this isn't fair for me. Or just like, yep, cool, got on with everything, always did your best. Like, I was always just like, did you know what? Clap, clap to you.
yeah, I don't like to whine. I just don't like to. It doesn't feel good. And
Mm.
because well, I've known a couple of whiners, and it's it's not a good look.
But you're always so positive with everything and you always bring a lot of humor into it.
I
Like
try to
even
be.
it's like from the dance stuff, obviously it is going to be difficult for you to do and you always just did your best with that and I really admire you for that.
It's fun
But
though.
I just loved it when we go if we fast forward into third year when you or was it second year when you were like making performances that were obviously showing people into your mind and how it
Yeah,
works.
I did that again at masters. Like that was my
Mm.
dissertation piece, but it was more of that. It was like half an hour long, and
But I
obviously
just
the material was different.
yeah. But
But
that was something I really loved that you did. I think that was my favorite thing you did at uni because I just think one, it's just so very you, and it's like I obviously you're still performing, but it didn't feel like you're putting on this performance postponer. It was like this is me, and
yeah,
that's what I loved about it.
it was well, it was slightly exaggerated. It was kind of like a confessional stand-up routine thing. If I could find a way to make that format work for YouTube, I'd do it. I'm sure I'll
There
find
must
a
be
way.
ways.
Yeah,
Mm.
there
That'll
is a
help with
way.
filming.
Awesome. Yeah.
So what are you doing now, like life after uni?
Well, Masters pretty much destroyed me mentally, and
Mm.
yeah, I'm sure you understand.
Oh yeah, just a tip for anyone who's thinking about doing a master's degree.
No!
Yeah, don't. But kidding aside, um, I had a really positive experience doing my bachelor's degree, and that's why I chose to stay on to do my master's degree at the same
Yes,
place.
same.
Um, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the master's degree that me and Ollie did, but I think sometimes you might need a bit of a breather in between doing a bachelor's to a master's because you and me, we just got so drained from,
Yeah,
5 years
I
of
was
education non-stop.
burned the hell out, and the difficulty curve
Yeah,
is vertical.
really burnt out. And the other thing is to research what your master's is. Maybe have that year or two gap in between from doing your bachelor's to your master's. So you have time to go, do I want to do a master's and what do you want to do it in? Because I think I did learn a lot from my master's degree and it is useful for me. But looking back, I think if I'd waited a few years and gone, because obviously this is like 2 years after that. So I think if I was going to look at doing a master's degree now, I would do it in a subject a lot different. Like I'd probably look at something like drama therapy or dance therapy.
I thought about investigative journalism,
You could have done your master's degree in something to do with that then.
I could have, but I didn't. I stuck to what I knew. And
Yeah.
do you remember, oh, what was it? That, the education in the arts essay about, like, the second one, I was doing it on museums in education. I don't know what you did yours on, because,
I can't remember what I did mine at all.
sorry, okay, that was just someone messaging me on Facebook. That's going to come up on the video, the doo-doo thing. Sorry, that periodically happens. But yeah, that essay, I couldn't get it in time, and like such was my burnout like, I've done a lot of research at uni and since leaving it, and I'm increasingly suspecting that I may actually have ADHD. Now, I'm not gonna claim I have it, but it would explain a lot.
I'm being called. I'll be right back.
Okay. Sorry for the abrupt cutaway. Life happened.
Yeah, sometimes you get called for dinner, and it was great. I had pasta.
Ah, nice. Nice. Yeah. Right, so before we left off, I was saying, and I've already forgotten, I just checked.
Advice for students with master's degrees, and
No! Yeah. Oh yeah, work struggles. Yeah, I was saying I'm not claiming I have ADHD, but if I did, it would explain some things.
yeah,
That was what I was saying. And as an example of that, throughout our entire academic career, I have never been able to not last minute an assignment. Like, unless someone else was metaphorically cracking a whip behind me to get me to keep going, sometimes literally, you know, I just don't do it. Without that immense pressure of an encroaching deadline, it just doesn't happen. And that's not I mean, I've talked about this on my channel before, so you can probably find an example of that. It's not because I don't want to or because I'm lazy, it's just it's not there in my brain, you know, the process of what I've got to do next until like, I'm really capable in a crisis. So when the deadline is looming and it's like, shit, it's got to be done tomorrow, then I'm on fire. But I wish I was remotely capable at any other time.
so I think I have like the opposite struggle.
Mm.
It's like with me, if I know I have something to do,
Yeah.
I can't sit down and relax until I get it done. So if I left things last minute, I'd be going crazy. So if I know that even if it's just like doing research or something for an essay, it's like I can't sit down and relax and watch a movie or do anything interesting because
Oh,
I'm
nor
just
can I.
have to do it.
I also can't do the thing, so I'm in a constant state of not being able to relax.
I did an essay the night before once, and it's when we did that essay in first year in the library, and that's where you introduced me to Red Bull, because that's how we got through first year.
Oh yes, I remember.
No
I
sleep,
did a
Red
Red
Bull.
Bull run for the library.
Yeah,
uh,
I think we worked all through that night
yeah.
till the morning, handed in that essay, and then went to class because that is student life.
Yep. Yep. Um.
You get better habits in second and third year. Sometimes students do. Can't say that for all students, but
I
sometimes you
did.
get into a habit.
I didn't. Yeah. Like,
Like you say,
fortunately,
that was
I'm quite
better.
good at writing. I flatter myself here, but fortunately, I am quite good at writing, which is the only reason I got through it.
Well, everyone's going to have their own way of working because obviously some people can literally leave their essay till the night before and get the best grade for it. I don't know how these people do it, but
I
they
didn't
do.
do that intentionally. Like, I mean, this
Yeah, how did you do that?
I didn't do it in. I didn't choose to. There were times I sat at my computer trying to will myself to do something for hours, and sometimes nights, and all that happened is I didn't sleep that night. Nothing got done, and I actually had a bit of a breakdown over that education essay I was talking about earlier because it was like, I don't care. I am not leaving this workstation until it is done. I'm not last minuting this, and I just sat there trying to will something onto the paper. Nothing was coming into my brain, and I didn't sleep that night. And by the time morning came, I still hadn't gotten much done. And then I just like full on meltdown with the banging the head against the wall and the screaming. And it's like I could have slept that night, and the same amount would have got done. That's what
Yeah.
annoyed me.
See, I think our master's degree was literally just a mental breakdown.
Yeah, one after another in my case. I mean,
Yeah.
I ended up having to go for a deferral, and it put me in therapy, and cognitive behavioural therapy specifically, to try and manage my procrastination. I thought it was just anxiety. Apparently, it was severe depression as well, or so my therapist said. I
I mean, that
wouldn't
does make sense.
I wouldn't have guessed. But then I suppose if it's your brain, you can't really tell all the time if something's wrong with it because you haven't got another one to compare it to.
So, because when you do have depressive episodes, even the things you want to do, that's not necessarily essays, but even the stuff you enjoy,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
struggle to find motivation to do it. Because I know whenever I've been in depressive episodes, even if it's like, yeah, I can't rehearse tonight or I can't do whatever tonight, the only thing you want to do is just literally absolutely nothing and just, feel sorry for yourself and just not feel very good. But sometimes I think it is good to allow yourself that time to just go, right, time to feel what I need to feel and take away that guilt for it. Also, I
yeah,
know obviously there's a struggle when you have things like essays and deadlines to get done, but
yeah.
sometimes think it is good, especially for students, and you're a student that suffers with
Because
anxiety and depression. Make time for yourself to do nothing just to kind of help you not feel so overwhelmed.
yeah, I tried to do that, but here's
Yeah,
the thing about working in a humanities environment, right? When you have an assignment, and I'm sure you relate to this, you are thinking about it constantly
yeah,
until it is never not in your mind, and it's impossible to shut down. But for me, it's also impossible to do anything about it, and so so I end up just trying to not. I end up, say, I don't know, going on YouTube or playing games or whatever, not because it's something I want to do, but to try and distract myself from
yeah.
from the frustration of knowing this has got to be done, but not being able to do it.
I think there's a lot of, I don't know if it's something that has been looked into or being looked into, I don't really know. I just kind of know from my experience and talking to you about your experiences.
Yeah,
But I think there are quite a lot of students that do suffer from things like anxiety and depression, which obviously will affect their time at uni. And
yeah,
university is such a stressful time anyway, that if you're having to deal with uni stress on top of dealing with anxiety and depression, it's really difficult.
I miss
And
it
obviously
though.
then
Like
you have those things where it's coming out of uni, and then obviously I don't know if you've read those articles. I've seen them on Facebook. Um, Even for people that don't maybe necessarily have anxiety and depression, but there's a type of depression that students get after uni, where it's obviously you kind of get used to being independent, having your own place, living your
oh,
life, then obviously moving back home, you're away from people, you're back in a kind of teenage environment.
I'm back in my childhood bedroom, Marie. Like I think this is the scenario for which the phrase "big mood" was invented. Yeah.
And obviously, I think sometimes when people go to uni, you feel like, yeah, as soon as I graduate, I'm going to get the job of my dreams and my life begins.
I never
But I feel
thought that.
like that doesn't happen for many people. And I feel like your 20s is for just figuring out what you want to do and how to get there. And I think it's difficult to say because I know that I put a lot of pressure on myself as well. But I always try
Yeah.
to tell anyone else who's feeling like that it is okay to not know what you're doing and just have a job because it pays, because it is your time just to figure things out and to not don't feel guilty about that. Just do what you can.
Yeah.
Take an
Towards the end
opportunity to just
of
breathe.
oh yeah, towards the end of masters, I discovered guided meditations.
Mm.
Yeah, good stuff. That helps. Like I actually managed to make a bit of headway now and then with one or two of those, so that helped a bit, but not enough
What is it
to
you use?
guided meditations. I just search them on YouTube. You can find them.
Okay.
Like there's a good one if you want a guided meditation for anxiety. I'll send you a link after. It's like half an hour long, and it's just like visualization and breathing exercises to help you calm
Mm.
down.
So I've not used it myself, but I've heard Headspace is quite good as well.
Headspace. I have heard of that, but I've never used it. Yeah. But you know what? All of those mental breakdowns. Here's what you get.
I'm still waiting for mine to be delivered.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I just don't know my grade yet for my masters. Waiting for my certificate.
I'm sure it'll be
But
there
well done,
soon.
like honestly, well done for your masters.
Yeah. I passed by the skin of my teeth, but I don't give a fuck.
You have a master's, that's the important thing.
Yeah. I'll put it back up there later. Yeah. Sorry, like we were talking about myself. I was gonna show it off. Like you know,
You have to. You have that
that's
many breakdowns over something, you've got to show it off.
yeah, that's 5 years right there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Undergrad
so
was
now you're
great.
doing YouTube, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to carve out a niche for myself. I don't exactly expect to make a career of that, but you know, it keeps me busy while
Mm.
I'm traversing the dreadlands of job hunting.
Yeah. I mean, I was unemployed for about 9 months when I was looking for work when I moved back home.
Yeah. And you're
It's
able-bodied,
difficult. There's so
so
much out there.
yeah,
Pardon?
you're able-bodied. So it's like, and like, particularly because my master's is in something that you would think is quite physical, although it isn't necessarily. That's going to confuse people, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, um, and also, well, I have reason to suspect that the fact that I'm disabled has something to do with them, with me not getting a look in. I'm not pinning all of my not having a job on that.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I am, but
But I know you've had a lot of trouble with it.
yeah. Pre-uni, I applied for a lot of jobs because I took a year off between college and uni. To Americans that might be watching this, in the UK, college and university are two different things. I don't know what your equivalent of our college would be, but
I
it's
think they'd still be in school because they don't leave school till they're 18.
yeah, but it's between mandatory schooling and higher education. It's further education. That's what it's called over here. But at any rate, in the year between the two, I thought, oh, I'm gonna try and get a job, get some experience doing something, and nothing happened. But here's the thing, when I sent my CV into places, I always disclosed that I was disabled because I feel like that's something an employer would want to know. Uh, and I never as much as got asked for an interview. To this day, I haven't. Um, and while I was at uni, at this point, I'd given up like job seeking because I had other stuff to do. Um,
Yeah, you mean there's so much to do at uni, it's very difficult to balance that
yeah.
with a job.
Oh, you know what? I had not read recreationally for 5 years because uni had destroyed my interest in reading. But this year, I finally read Lord of the Rings for the first time. So, yeah,
Good book.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
And Terry Pratchett, you've been reading Terry Pratchett, which makes me really happy.
yeah. Um, oh my god. I'm just gonna say about, like, segue, just tangent about Lord of the Rings. In the book, Legolas and Gimli are such besties, and it's wholesome as fuck, and I wish that had made it into the film more. It's like they're making plans to go sightseeing together all the time, and they're sharing a horse because Gimli doesn't like riding because he might fall off, and he's like, no, it's okay, bro, I gotcha. Uh, sorry, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah.
You were saying about job hunting and that you've
Yeah.
had some like difficulties with it.
And while I was at uni, I stumbled across an article that said it was about a graduate who had applied for hundreds and hundreds of jobs, but had only started getting asked back for interviews when he removed all reference to his disability from his CV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so and it's like, they're not allowed to ask you if you're disabled before the interview, and I think that's probably why. And also, I did some research recently. Well, not recently; it was months ago, but it was within the last year. And I think 33, I think, percent of employers, when polled, admitted that they wouldn't hire a disabled person. And people lie to pollsters to look good, so that just means 33% of people thought that not hiring a cripple was obvious enough that they didn't have to lie about it.
I'm
So,
not even worried about admitting it, which is
yeah.
just
So,
disgusting.
like, I mean, they say that if you ask 3 people whether or not they pee in pools, one of them doesn't, one of them does, and one of them does but doesn't admit it. So, like,
Interesting poll.
going by that logic, you ask 3 people whether they'd hire a disabled person, one of them wouldn't, one of them would, and one of them wouldn't but knows that's not a good thing to say.
But surely, I think as long as your building is wheelchair friendly, which most places have to be for obviously, so you can have all customers come in, I don't see why someone working in a wheelchair would be a big issue. Especially if it's like an office job where you're going to be sat down most of the time anyway at a desk. I really don't see the big deal with that.
Oh, nor do I. But apparently, like, people just don't want to have to deal with that. Like, you
Just
know.
change it to your CV. Instead of saying you're disabled, just say you bring your own chair.
Yeah. I'll just remove like any reference to it altogether, and then hope I get to the interview room, and then I can see the look on their faces of mild panic as I'm not what they expected, which is a look I'm very used to, by the way. Did I tell you about the time I went to a jiu-jitsu taster session at uni?
Did you?
Yeah, this was in my second year
But
because
if you can move on your knees, and surely that's still something that you could do anyway. Because obviously you've got still, even though you're in a chair, you've got a lot of movement that you're capable of.
well, let me tell you how that went. um, so I went down to the QE2, the gym
Yeah.
near uni, and the person I went to the group that was doing jujitsu, and the person saw me, looked a bit confused, and said, "Are you here for jujitsu?" I went, "Yeah," and she said, "Okay, come with me." So I went there, and they went to get Sensei Martin, they called him, which made me laugh because those are just not two words you expect to hear in the same sentence. Also, Sensei is supposed to come after the name. But and he was very good about it. He said, "Look, the style I teach is very centric for standing and leverage that would require you to be standing." And this is what he said to me exactly. "I'm not saying you couldn't do it. I'm saying I don't know how to teach you."
I mean, that's a fair enough comment. 'Cause if you think, especially when it's societies in school,
Yeah,
you're
I
obviously going to be
appreciated his
pressured.
honesty.
Yeah. But I think it must be difficult, even if it's like you want to help
Asocial.
someone
I
with
went on
this,
asocial with them
but
after that.
just,
Uni gets away from you.
yeah. Because I know, like, obviously it's one of those cases where you want to help, but you don't really know how to help. Because
Yeah,
I think I had someone who was in a wheelchair who asked to go to one of my belly dance classes while I was at uni,
yeah.
and I was like, you feel free to like do as much as you feel like you can, but I've never trained someone who's in a chair before, and I wouldn't know how to make it work for you. By all means, join, but I just don't know how to make it specific for you. Just
Yeah,
follow and do
yeah.
what you can.
Well, it's going to be case by case because no two people
Yeah.
are exactly the same in that situation. It's tricky, I grant you that. Like I do understand, um, but to be honest, here's where you lose some sympathy for me. I only went to see the look on their faces as they struggled to tell me no. That was the only reason I turned up because I am an asshole. No, no.
But
That I just thought that would be funny. I thought it would be funny for a guy in a wheelchair to show up to like a martial arts class, like just a funny juxtaposition there, and also to see the look on their faces of mild confusion and panic, which
I
again
mean,
is a look I'm very used to seeing. Like you learn to read faces when,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't. I mean, at least you got to go on a few socials with them and had fun that way, I
Well,
guess.
yeah, asocial. I exaggerated, but yeah, that's cool. And I didn't. Then I just sort of focused on the theatre society because, like, I didn't join in the first year because A, I was commuting from home, which was the worst decision in my life, uh, and B, I assumed that we would get a lot of theatre practice and performing, like, scripts and stuff on our course. I was wrong about that. Yeah.
Did you not know that our course is all weird and wonderful?
And all abstract. No, I did not. I didn't actually audition. Like I got in on my I got in. You know when they ask you to write a few hundred words, like
Yeah.
about it. I got in on that on its own. So I
Okay.
didn't actually have to audition. That's not bragging, but that's just to contextualize the fact that I didn't know what to expect because the first time I set foot in the building, I was already on the course.
So I think the audition did kind of give a bit of a heads up on what kind of things she did on the course.
Yeah, that would have. They didn't ask me to come in for one, so I didn't, and I was like, that would have been ideal. Not that I mean, I like to think I adapted eventually.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really until third year where they sort of loosen the reins a bit and let you do what you want to do, rather than what they tell you to,
Yeah.
that I really came into my own there. I didn't expect to get as good as grade as I got for that in my brain thing. Yeah. Um,
But I think that one, it definitely did feel like that was your kind of work to make.
yeah, it was a
So if anyone who doesn't understand what our performing arts course was like, it's performing arts. So you didn't have like straight acting with scripts. You didn't do plays and anything like that. It was more like performance art, live art, where you kind of have themes and you kind of make movement and have like technology things like projections and have things on you, and it's all quite artsy.
yeah. There was this program called Isadora where you had to program movements in like and code them. I never got to grips with it. I confess it. I
It was complicated, but cool.
yeah, and yeah. You also like there was also a point where we learned how to deconstruct and reconstruct a stage light.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh,
I
that's
liked using the projections. I
yeah.
think we had like a lot, like a real flower pot, then had like a projected flower growing out of it. That was pretty cool.
Green screen video editing was fun.
Green screen. That was one of my favorite modules. That
Yeah.
was great.
Oh. And I always well, I got lucky on those because I happened to be working with people who had a sense of humor, and like you have a green screen, you can do literally anything. So let's go nuts. Uh,
Do you remember that module we had where you got into groups and you'd film something and then give it to another group to edit and they could do whatever they wanted to it?
I think I still
So,
have what I did with yours.
well, Troy and Daniel had my video to edit. So you can imagine how that turned out.
No, was that the fairies one?
Yeah,
That
so
yeah, I was in that group. That I
oh, you the ones
yeah
you edited the video with all the
yeah
sharks and stuff.
yeah that was me and Troy.
Oh, I thought was it not Dan?
Um, no, I don't think so. Was Dan involved? I seem to remember it being just me and Troy. Although I did work with Dan in first year.
To be fair, even
Uh,
if it's you and Troy, that video makes a lot of sense.
I still have
So
it.
me and the girls that I worked with, we what we filmed was like a news report of a discovery of a fairy. What Ollie and Troy edited was a blockbuster movie trailer for this just really random film that just had like fire and sharks and just imagine Sharknado as a trailer but with fairies and fire and all sorts going on.
I'm gonna put that video at the end of this podcast. So,
Do you have it?
yeah,
I've not seen that in ages. Please put it at the end of this video.
yeah, like that's gonna be the epilogue to this podcast.
Oh, I've not seen that since we're at uni. I'm so excited when you post this.
Like,
It was just crazy.
I mean, as long as you can contextualize and explain why something is in there, you can do literally whatever you want. So we just took the piss and just
So
made
when you
the
watch
most
this video,
nonsensical thing possible.
so anyone watching this, when you watch that video, that's what our degree is in.
I think that's oversimplifying it, but that was one of the skills you were taught.
Yeah, but it is nice that when your degree does have some really fun things on there that you can do.
Yeah. You make what fun you can.
And green screen, you can have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
It's like I don't know if you watch that YouTuber Jenna Marbles.
I am aware of Jenna Marbles. You'd have to remind me of something specific.
Just type in after this video in your free time, Jenna Marbles green screen and have fun with that. Now she knows how to have fun with a green screen.
That sounds very familiar, so I've probably seen it at some point.
I've
But
probably
yeah,
tormented you with videos before. It's great.
yeah. Good times.
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
just does not feel like we graduated.
I miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not just like the work and having something to do in a direction in life, but you know, I mi- I miss you and everyone else and the class and you know,
We had a good group.
yeah, we did. Uh
So what are your kind of plans for now? Like I know you're doing YouTube.
Yeah,
Do you have any other plans of what you want to do?
yeah, I'm gonna keep doing YouTube. Oh, I'm also writing a novel. I'm giving that an actual serious go for once, as like I mentioned to you. I sent you a bit of one before. I don't know if you remember. Um,
Yeah, I think you sent me some a few months ago. So
yeah,
I'm really excited for when the book's finished and I can actually get a signed copy from you.
you might be waiting a while because I've been like struggling. Although, I recently I sent you that mythology playlist on YouTube. I've been binging that, and I'm getting a lot of ideas to rip off from mythology because it's okay to do that because everyone does it.
And you're doing is it the thing that me and Ben are doing voices for?
Oh, right, right. I haven't actually announced that yet, so I'm gonna keep like I'm not actually going to announce that until I'm nearly done with it, just in case I never do it.
No problem. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm I'm in the pre-production phases of an abridged project. Uh, that's about all I'm comfortable saying right now.
And I know that when you were talking to me and Ben about voice acting, he was more excited about the fact that you're obsessed with Dragon Ball like him than the fact that he's going to be doing voice acting.
Yeah, I do really like Dragon Ball. It's like one of my favorite things. You know that thing that you liked as a kid that you never quite grew out
Yeah.
on.
It
Yeah,
was just funny because obviously he came downstairs after he was like talking to you,
yeah,
and obviously I was like, "So how did it go?" Me thinking he's going to tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be a voice actor," because it's something he's always wanted to do, and he was really excited for it. So
yeah.
me thinking he's going to come down and go, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be doing voice acting." He came down, he was like, "Oh, that was great. He loves Dragon Ball."
Yeah,
And like me and his mum were like sat there like, "Yeah, and waiting for him to kind of say whether he's going to like be voice acting or not. And he's like, and he likes this about Dragon Ball, and he does this and this, and like,
yeah.
okay, cool. It's just, and then
We
like, oh
sort of
yeah, and
nerded
voice
out
acting.
for a bit.
Yeah, like I got definitely got that vibe.
Yeah,
It'd be good for you two to meet then.
yeah.
He did
I
take me to go see Broly in the cinema. That's
oh
the only really Dragon Ball film I've seen, and I think he showed me the first one as well on Netflix. I think I preferred Broly more to the one I saw on Netflix. I think that one had a bit more in it. But I suppose
yeah.
first film was always like more like
Broly is the
introductions.
best one. Like and like that's like a remake of a previous Broly movie, which is like, I mean, it's all right, but I really hated that version of the character, and he was really popular, which annoyed me because I didn't like him. But I love this new version.
But I thought it was also quite good because obviously you and Ben both. Oh, Ben is my boyfriend for anyone that doesn't know. Um, but I think obviously because you and Ben, you're both very into Dragon Ball, so you know the history of it and you know a lot about
Yeah,
the background. I found with the new Broly film that came out, it was good for someone like me who doesn't really know a lot about Dragon Ball that
yeah, I
it still gives you
appreciated that
enough
about it.
information that you can enjoy it.
Yeah,
So like even though I've not watched the anime or many of the films, you can still understand what's going on and enjoy that. And it was a really good film. We also brought my friend Elliot, and he likes anime, but he's not seen any of Dragon Ball, and he really enjoyed that too.
I'm one of those people with anime. It's like I hesitate to say that I'm into it because every time I meet someone else who's into it, they're always way more into it than me. Like I'm
Same with comic books.
yeah, I'm just I'm a casual in that regard.
Mm,
Yeah. Although
yeah.
I did recommend to you Yuri on Ice a bit back. Have you had a chance to watch that?
No, I didn't watch that. I was rewatching Elfen Lied, which I don't know
Ah,
if I'm pronouncing that right, but I love that.
bit of a different tone.
And there was another one I watched. I was watching. My friend Jenny got me into Black Butler.
I haven't seen that yet.
That's really good. So I was watching that for a bit. And what was the other one I was watching? I'm really bad with names.
I'm nervous that
I
we're talking about
rewatched.
anime because recently, like, I did a stream of me and my friend Sam, who I think you've met. Um, he lives in Scotland now, but we did a stream of both of us watching like Broly, and that video got taken down, and I now have a copyright strike on my YouTube. Now it was just our faces, so there was no
Oh,
footage in the thing. I now have a copyright strike on my YouTube account, which means I can't stream till September, which I'm really annoyed about.
So is
But,
it because you had like a whole film on YouTube, or like
well,
'cause it was the
as I
audio?
say, well, I don't think the audio was on it, but then I can't like be sure because I didn't watch it back. But I had the volume down pretty low, and video wise, it was just our faces. So
Mm.
yeah,
Oh,
uh,
that's a shame.
I wasn't really that fussed about that video. It was just something I did to hang out with Sam. But you know, I am annoyed that I now have a copyright strike on my channel because of it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. Although apparently around the time there was mass takedowns for anime videos going around, so like hopefully that's blown over now. Yeah.
Is that because a lot of people are like leaking them online or something?
Well, no, it's just even if people are just talking about them, like someone's taking down their videos and stuff, and it's like I don't know. YouTube is basically a lawless hellscape when it comes to like things like that. Videos get
Well,
unjustly taken down all the time.
I'll touch wood that I've been okay so far.
Yeah, no, I'm sure we'll be fine. Like, there's no copyrighted material in this video at all. I mean, unless I suddenly start blaring, I don't know, name a musical artist out there.
Oh, as soon as someone says think of something, I can't think of anything. Like that, there are now
Yeah,
no musical artists in my brain.
I said think of something in my head and then I couldn't, which is why I said name. uh, but yeah,
Lady Gaga.
yeah. Okay.
I don't know
Uh,
if you've seen. I don't know if it's your kind of thing at all, but her film, I've forgotten it already.
just to
Star is Born. That's it. A Star is Born. Really good film.
just a second. I have to close Facebook tabs because I keep getting group chat messages and it's going dong, and the video will pick up any sound that comes from my computer. So yeah. Um. Okay. Okay. Oh, come on, OBS! Don't do this to me. Don't freeze on me. There we go. Okay, all good. All good.
Computer problems.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. You were saying.
I can't remember, but
Oh damn.
it
Sorry.
just kind of made me think when you have, obviously, like going back to being a performing arts student at uni, but
Yeah.
when you had a performance that had a lot of tech, and then you're getting graded on that performance day, and all your tech fails, that is a stress I've never experienced. Like, just, I mean, I have
I
experienced, but
lost
it's
a
just
key element. Like I was gonna use like music and sound effects in my live art performance,
mm,
and I don't know what the problem was, but for some reason we couldn't have an aux cable. I don't know what the problem was, but I couldn't have access to the sound system, so I had to do without.
the tech is more stressful than the actual performing
Yeah,
itself.
yeah. Which is why, um, towards the end, I did things with like as few tech requirements as possible. Like
Mm.
because the less tech you've got to rely on, the less can go wrong.
I mean, that's the thing. If you feel like you've got a smooth performance that you don't have to like worry about things going wrong, it's so much easier. But then at the same time, when you do have a lot of these risks, when they all work and they go well and everything works out fine, it's so rewarding.
Yeah. Um, I don't think I ever had a project at uni that I didn't feel bad about until I saw the grade and think, oh, thank fuck for that.
So like
Uh,
the only kind of stress with performing I have at the moment is I find when I do belly dance gigs, they're a lot less stressful. One, I don't have to wear shoes performing barefoot, it's so much more freeing, and obviously it's just you wear a costume and you dance and it's fine. Obviously remember your choreography, have fun with it and perform it well. But when you're doing burlesque, you have your choreography and your performing that you need to go well. But then it's when you're having to kind of remove your clothing, but obviously within a choreography and have it on time and go well, a lot of your costume removing can go really wrong. And I've had it
Ah,
where I've like been trying to take off a dressing gown, and for some reason on the night, I didn't do it in any of my rehearsals, I had it in a double knot. So I was supposed to obviously take the dressing gown over the shoulders and be a bit like, hello, taking an item of clothing off. And obviously it's a double knot, and I'm like, I can't undo it. So instead, I just kind of had to roll it down and just sort of step out of it. I've had my hair caught in corsets before, so it's usually, I find like the actual like removing of clothing, you have to rehearse more than the choreography to make sure that you know exactly how it's going to come off so it goes well on the night.
yeah,
But like anything, if something goes wrong in the performance, you just have to wing it and go with it.
yeah.
Just don't show that you're like, oh fuck, that wasn't supposed to happen.
The
Just,
audience doesn't know what's in the script, so
yeah.
just like act like you meant it.
When I say the worst thing that's probably gone wrong was when I very first started dancing, and I was about 15, and I was part of this belly dance Egyptian group back in my hometown, and we went to go perform at like this festival, and so we just had like a little stage area in a field, and because I'd only been belly dancing for a few months, so obviously I wasn't never performed before at that point. I was only 15, and I was borrowing different bits of belly dance clothing from people because I didn't have anything of my own. And the skirt I was given was too big for me. So I tried to just kind of clip it in with some safety pins on the side and thought, that should be fine. And then, like, on the day, kind of performing and obviously doing a hip shimmy where obviously your hips are shaking a lot, my skirt fell down. And
Ah,
obviously, you have that, like, okay, yep, my pants are on show. Not sure what to do here. So you kind of I end up just kind of kicking my skirt off to the side and just kind of like, and dancing my pants and then go away. My mum found it hilarious, but I was just like, I'm literally, you have that worst nightmare of, I'm just in my pants.
I've never had
Ironically,
that
you grow
dream.
up to do burlesque where you are dancing in your pants. So funny how that turned out. Worried about it back then, not so bad now.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, what made you decide to put your dancing on YouTube?
um, it's something I thought about for a while, and I had mixed responses from it. But I just feel like I've seen so much different types of content on YouTube where there's singers putting their music on YouTube. There's artists kind of like showing like how they're drawing and how they're painting and putting the end result on YouTube. And I feel like YouTube is the new place where art is going, and I think it's really good for that. And I love performing live, and I don't think that's ever going to go, but I think YouTube is a really good place to kind of put a portfolio of your work, and that's why I'm interested in, as well as putting my live videos on here from gigs I do, is I want to make dance videos that are specifically for camera. So kind of like filming like a music video, but for just dance. And
Yeah.
like that's kind of my goals that I'd like to do.
Ah, brilliant. Um, yeah. Sorry, I'm tired. I didn't mean to sound disinterested. Yeah.
It sounds like, yeah, sounds great.
um, wait, so dancing for music videos? I've seen a bit of that. I, um,
So I've not seen that much of it for the styles of dance I do, but I know that obviously there are a lot of dance videos on YouTube that are made for camera. Obviously, we've seen some during our course.
yeah.
So that's why I would like to experiment with making belly dance and burlesque videos for camera.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with that medium. Well, as
Yeah.
I'm sure you know, you've done it.
So that's kind of where I'm heading with things. And then for the more kind of modeling side, because I'm trying to make my channel for both dance and modeling, it's more when I've looked at YouTube videos for models, it's always the same things where it's like, here's a tutorial for makeup for a photo shoot, or here's tips on how to pose for a photo shoot. But I don't think I want more useful information on there. So things for me, if you're starting out as a model, I want to put things up like safety for models, how to keep yourself safe,
Yeah, because
those kinds of things.
yeah, you
There's,
told me some things over the years.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I think modeling is a fun thing to do, and I do encourage anyone to try it. And I mean, some of my videos I'll be talking about different ways you can get into modeling and how to build portfolios and different ways you can do things like that. But I just know so many horror stories for models where they get in a lot of trouble or get, hurt from some dodgy people. I'm not saying that all photographers are horrible, but there are going to be some dodgy characters about. But fortunately, most of the photographers I've worked with have been very lovely, very professional, and I
Good.
really recommend them. I've been really lucky, but from the get go, when I first started modeling, my first few photographers I worked with gave me so much safety advice, and I feel like that's helped me stay out of trouble and like
Yeah.
keep myself safe.
Apparently, them not wanting to pay you is actually quite a mild problem.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that in some of my videos as well, but it's one of those things where it's the same as like acting, you have to do quite a few jobs for free before you can start getting paid to kind of go, here's my portfolio of work. It's the same with modeling. So my first couple of years, I was either doing low pay or no pay.
Yeah.
Luckily now I'm in a position where I'm getting paid for modeling, and that obviously is great,
Yeah.
but it's something that I enjoy doing as well. Um, but yeah, so I just kind of, when I first started going into it, it was just trying to build up a portfolio and kind of explore different areas of modeling as well, which is good. So there's so many different types of things you can do.
I can't imagine having to negotiate the early stages of that, like trying to get your name out there when, well, basically, I'm assuming nobody wants to pay you. Like, I've heard the exposure myth so many times.
Oh God, yeah, the exposure thing. But at the same time, you do have to appreciate if a photographer is going to pay you, he needs to make sure that he's going to get his money's worth in the sense of that you're professional, you know how to pose, you don't need direction, and obviously you know what you're doing. Which is why obviously it is good to, before you obviously apply for modeling jobs, that you have that portfolio to show first.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have heard it said before that you shouldn't work for exposure because, well, here's what I heard, and you may or may not agree with this, so, like, I'd be
Okay.
interested to know what you thought. If a person is not willing, like, if a person is expecting you to work for exposure, they're either not willing to pay you or they're not able to pay you. If they're not able to pay
Yeah,
you, what exposure can they offer you? If they're not willing to pay you, why would they want to give you exposure?
that makes a lot of sense, and I think that would probably go towards not only modeling but any kind of performing as well.
Yeah, it's like if they don't have the money to pay you, what kind of
Can't pay
platform
my
for
rent with
exposure?
exposure.
Yeah, if they don't have the money to pay you, what kind of exposure could they realistically offer you anyway? And if they just don't want to pay you, they're not gonna give a crap about your exposure either.
That is true, and I get that, but I think sometimes you have to judge it for what kind of job it is, what your
Yeah,
experience is in. Because if I feel like if you don't have that much experience, it's not so much the exposure, but it's again just building up.
it's the being able to say that you've done things.
So if you've done a few free things, at least then whoever's like you, whatever big paid job you're applying for, or big experience job, whatever it is, if you can then go, you should pay me to do this job because look at all this amazing work I've done, it helps towards that. But there are ways you can obviously make money while you're building those portfolios. So obviously, if you're a student, go to your photography department and say, do you need any models for your photography class? That's a way to kind of get a few, you've got a reference from the photographer, you've got some pictures there. If there's any photography clubs in your area, they're always looking for models because these are photographers that are training to be a photographer and learning it, or
Yeah,
might be learning it for a job, learning it for a hobby. But then you get some pictures for a portfolio, you get references from any photographer there, and you're also that one you're also getting paid for. Photography clubs pay you as well. I mean, that's where I was first starting getting money from when I started out modeling.
yeah. I mean, like I consider
I'll go
myself
into more
more.
depth in videos later,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of ways.
Don't waste all your content on someone else's channel. Save it for advice videos.
No, it's just because obviously I want to try and do it so each video has a specific theme so I can go in a lot of depth. Because if you can't tell, I ramble a lot.
So do I. It's cool.
And I don't want to waste your video with me rambling about things.
No, no, it's cool. I mean, it's better than me rambling about things.
We both just love a good ramble.
Yeah, it's
This is what we
fun.
should call the video, just we ramble. We rant and ramble.
Rambling with uni friends. We should do this again.
Yeah, we should have like every now and again rant and rambles.
Rant and rambles. That's a good one. I'm going to use that.
Rant and
Rant
rambles.
and rambles with Rose Noir.
I mean, that's pretty much all we did at uni as well, particularly our masters. The amount of rants we had about our master's degrees, we took it in turns having breakdowns, took it in turns having rants,
Yeah.
and both having to go, no, I can't finish it. You're going to finish it. The other person, I can't finish this. No, you said I could finish it, so now you're finishing it. But we finished it.
Yeah. Uh, we finished it all right. Eventually, after
Now I've just got to do
deferrals
the
and many
adult
great.
thing.
Sorry.
Now we've just got to do the adult thing of figuring out what we want to do with our lives.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know, I think it's always good to have a bit of an idea of what you want to do, but
yeah.
realistically, you're never going to know what opportunities come your way. So you might think, yeah, I'm definitely going to go do this thing, and this amazing opportunity and something else comes along, and you're like, actually, that's pretty cool. I'm going to go with that. So I just think to any students who might be finishing soon or currently finished and like, what am I doing with my life? Which we've all been there, I get it. Just do what you can, even if you're just taking a job to pay your bills for now. You
Yeah.
can have your creative projects or whatever you want to do on the side, and you never know, maybe that will turn into something where your main income comes from and turns into your long term career. It's always possible. But just get involved in whatever you can and just keep trying things. Just try not to worry. I mean, coming from me and you, that's probably a bit hypocritical because we worry
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't worry so much. So I don't know how to
Oh, your
generalize all
video's
students,
frozen.
but oh, has it?
Yeah. That's a shame. Um.
Let me know when I'm moving again.
Yeah. Nothing yet. I'm gonna look at the actual window. No, no, it definitely says you've frozen. I was looking at me OBS interface with the call window in it. Excuse me. Um. Anyway, with the about 10 minutes from earlier, we're close to an hour now, so
Okay.
it's probably worth wrapping this up. But it was really fun to talk. We should do this again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely should do another rant and rambles.
Yeah, I'm thinking of getting like more uni friends in on this.
But no, I think it is good to obviously get other people's advice and experiences.
Yeah, the thing I really want to do, like what would be really great for me to do, is finish writing my book.
Do it. I
Yeah,
believe in you.
yeah. Um, for now, I've got a rough outline and a prologue chapter that's 6,000 words long.
Well, it's still a start, and I'm
Yeah,
sure you'll have a finish.
maybe trim that prologue chapter down a bit, and I know roughly where I want to go. I just like it's laying the groundwork. It's gonna take a while.
But obviously, you don't have uni anymore, so obviously you can just fully concentrate on your book, and I think you'll do it.
Yeah, I hope I'll do it.
I want a signed copy.
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. So, where can the internet find more of you and what you do?
So if you go onto YouTube, I'm under as Rose Noir. I think you said you were going to put a link down, so link in the description below. I'm
Absolutely.
also on Instagram. If you want to see more of like the modeling side to things, I put a few dance bits on there as well. That is, I don't choose to have my Instagram name as this. It was just because Rose Noir was already taken, so I think it's underscore Rose underscore Noir underscore. I just wanted to have Rose Noir, but it was already taken, so I've kind of
Yeah.
got it with all these underscores.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Cool.
And I have a Facebook page as well. Basically, any social media, Facebook and Twitter, it's just all Rose Noir. It's just Instagram that's a bit annoying with all the underscores.
Okay. Brilliant.
And are you doing the social media at the moment apart from YouTube? Because I know I don't have you on Instagram.
Um. I mostly post stuff to Twitter more than Facebook. I don't know why, but I feel weird about posting the stuff I do on YouTube to potentially like old school friends or family or whatever. It feels weird. Like, I mean, sometimes I do.
I mean, surely they'd be there to support you in everything you do.
Um,
Force it on them.
Yeah. Nah, I feel
Just
weird
like
doing that.
support me. Watch my video.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like friends and family, if there are friends and family watching,
Oh,
it,
did
it
I
really
tell
does
you the?
help. If you know any, not just us two, but if you know any creative people that are kind of putting things on media, really just watching it, a view, a like, subscribe, anything really does help.
It does, yeah. Did I tell
Or
you
if you
the
make it,
Pikachu story?
you haven't, but before I have a little support your local creators rant.
Okay, go on.
So even if it's not a YouTube thing, if you just know a friend that has like I don't know, they make costumes and they have a page on Facebook, or they do baking or anything like that, any kind of business that you know your friends are making, even if you can't afford to buy things from their like company, even just sharing their Facebook pages to your friends and family helps their business. So just support your friends' businesses as much as you can.
Yeah.
Just even a like and share helps them.
Hmm.
You were saying about Pikachu.
Yeah. So, I've been doing the YouTube thing for like 3 years now. And, well, I say doing the YouTube thing. All I used to do was, right, quick history lesson on my channel. All I
I'm
used,
ready.
all I used to do was upload footage of me playing games and talking over them because it was something that was easy to do, and
Mm,
I could put it out, and it gave me another way to hang out with Sam, who lives far away, and any other people who want to be on the voice chat on my streams while I do that. So I do that for a few years, and then I don't know if you saw it, but I made a video recapping an episode of Game of Thrones, and the people who saw that seemed to like it on my Facebook friends. So I thought, I'll tell you what, I'll split off. I'll have a dedicated game stream channel so that it doesn't get in the way of anything else I want to do on this channel. And I was going to do the recaps and whatever else I wanted to do on this, my main channel. And, well,
yeah.
that resulted in this channel getting, like, neglected for about 6 months at a time. But recently, this year, really, I've started putting out content a lot more regularly. And, one such piece of content, like, I went through this phase of I don't care what it is or how good it is or not. I want to upload something every day. And I do think that's a bit much in hindsight. Like 2, 3 times a week is probably plenty. But one such thing I uploaded. I don't know if you've seen the Detective Pikachu movie.
I haven't watched it yet, but I really want to see it.
It's good. It's good. You get Bill Nighy talking enthusiastically about Pokemon. What more do you want? Anyway, Ryan Reynolds leaked in massive air quotes um a full cut of the movie onto YouTube, but it was just an hour and a half of Detective Pikachu dancing. So I extended that clip to 10 hours and uploaded it to my YouTube just for kicks, thinking nothing of it.
Shits and giggles.
Yeah. Before I uploaded that video, I had like maybe 9,000 views across my entire channel of about 300 videos. That video has 180,000 views on its own.
Because people need 10 hours of Pikachu dancing. I
Apparently
totally
so.
get it.
Yeah, no, I do get it. And I'm not complaining, but there are videos on this channel I put actual effort into.
The
And
people
it's,
want Pikachu dancing. Give the people what they want.
yeah, I mean, I've been asked for 20-hour versions, but my computer won't render them. Otherwise, I would have. I might try for 15, like, best I can do.
But
Uh,
people are actually asking, no, 10 hours isn't good enough. Give me 20 hours of Pikachu dancing.
yeah,
What are
I
they
have.
doing with these videos?
They just don't
Do
like
they
hitting replay every 10
watch it for the
hours.
whole 20 hours?
No, I don't. I think it's a
Hmm?
joke. But
Okay, maybe I take things too seriously.
no. I assume it's a joke. Although if I can make a 20-hour version, I will. And there's also I've made a couple of videos. Like I do some film reviews now. That's a thing I do because I can knock them out
I've
pretty
seen some of
quickly.
your film reviews.
Oh, what do you reckon?
I'll say you've always been quite, because I know that you used to do, instead of YouTube, I know before you used to do like Facebook rants of films.
Yeah, and
But
that evolved into a blog which nobody read, which is now YouTube.
totally get that. but film critic could be a good route for you to go down because
Yeah,
you've got some very detailed points, but I think you're also very fair with what you're saying.
yeah. I did
So you're
recently
not one
see
to go, oh
Spider-Man
shit,
Far
but
From
you actually like
Home.
talk about it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just randomly remember things and get excited.
That is fine. Be excited. I think that's great.
Yeah, but sorry, what did you say?
I'll say because I think with your a film critic could be a good route for you to go down if you ever did consider it.
Yeah,
Because I think when
I
you
would
talk
like
about
to.
films, it's not some you don't tend to kind of go, oh, that film shit, don't watch it. You're very fair with it. You will kind of like analyze it. Maybe you should have done your essays when you're analyzing on films instead. Because you're very
uh,
descriptive and analytical when you talk about films.
yeah, I try to transfer those similar skills to essay writing, and the essay writing does help. So transferable skills there. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I don't like to put spoilers in my reviews, so I don't end up saying much. So I knock it out in a couple of minutes.
Mm.
I did recently see Spider-Man Far From Home, and I kind of think I've waited too long to review that, but I might anyway. It's really good.
So I watched the first one the other day, Homecoming.
Oh yeah, I like Homecoming.
That was really good. I really enjoyed that because I've not seen the Avengers films. So I'm trying to kind of I've got so many films to catch up on, it's ridiculous. So I've been trying to watch a few
23.
so that I can watch. Pardon?
23. You have
I know, I
23
have a lot of
films to...
films to get through.
And that's if you
But
don't watch the TV shows. You don't have to watch the TV shows. That's extended version of Lord of the Rings level fandom stuff. Like, it's there if you want it, but the films are good.
I really did enjoy Spider-Man Homecoming, so I want to watch Far Away Home. And I also want to get started on the Iron Man films because that made me fall in love with Iron Man. His character is great.
Iron Man 3 is the best one. Don't at me. Or do. I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
But you might have to give me a list of what the films are, but what order.
I'm sorry, the signal went there. I lost you. What did you say?
I was just saying, can you give me a list of all of the 23 films, but what order I should watch things? I know some of them, the order that they release isn't necessarily the order you need to watch them in.
Funny you should say that. In the lead up to the release of Avengers Endgame, I did a countdown of my personal order of preference for all of them.
Okay, maybe you should put that on YouTube as well.
I did.
Another thing to put in the description.
Yeah, I'll link that in the description as well. Obviously, Avengers Endgame isn't on there because it wasn't out at the time I wrote and made it. But now I would have to put Endgame. I don't know. It's definitely top 5. I don't know exactly
Okay.
where. And Spider-Man Far From Home. I want to put that in a. It's probably around. Far From Home is probably around 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I
So
wa-
I think that was a really good note to end on, talking about awesome films.
yeah.
And I'm excited to see this uni video that you're putting on it at the end of this because, like I said, I've not seen it since second year uni.
Yeah, this might have to go up tomorrow after I'm done editing because I've got another podcast to record today.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I'm at work tomorrow, so I'll probably watch it when I get back.
okay. Oh, it's a wrestling one. I do a wrestling one every week, but there was like an event on
Oh,
Sunday that I think warrants a special.
all right then.
Yeah, and that's another thing I do to hang out with my friends Sam and Ian who live far away.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that's a nice thing to do.
yeah,
But I'm always happy to do another rants and rambles
yeah.
whenever you
Cool.
want.
No, this was great. I hope we do another one.
Yeah, just thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. Right, so Rose Noir, everybody. Go and subscribe, check her out, and all the rest of YouTube stuff. Like everything.
And enjoy the video masterpiece that Ollie's going to put on at the end of this.
You're overselling it, but okay. No, it's we just
When
when
students piss around with green screen.
yeah when students, particularly me and my friends, are given freedom and video editing software, we will abuse it. Yeah. So yeah. Um, Thanks so much for joining me, Rose/Marie. Um, Link in the description. Check her out, like everything, and subscribe if you're new to my channel as well. All the rest of
Yeah,
the
subscribe
generic,
to Ollie.
yep, all the rest of the generic YouTuber spiel, and I leave you with uni project one time. We'll see you soon.
See you.